Welcome back to OG Sports TV, and welcome back to another episode of Real Talk. What a better way to come back than to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles potentially doing something that doesn't make any sense? Can they really trade for Deshaun Watson? Let's talk about it. Are the Philadelphia Eagles going to trade for Deshaun Watson from the Houston Texans? Listen, the way that this video is going to be formatted is I'm going to go through the timeline. Maybe you're not caught up on everything, and I wasn't until I prepared for this video. Maybe you're not caught up on everything on that's been happening with Deshaun Watson, because when the first news about this broke out about his legal issues, it broke out, and then it escalated very quickly. So we're going to go through this timeline. I have it all tracked down, and we're going to talk about this. But first, last night, what inspired this video, to be honest, Chris Trapasso, I hope I said his name right, an NFL draft analyst on CBS Sports, tweeted, talks heating up between the Eagles and Texans in the Watson trade. Still some hurdles to get over, but both sides attempting to come to an agreement. Listen, I'm going to give you my straight-up opinion on this. Don't know what happened between Deshaun Watson. Don't know if all these allegations are true. But if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, you absolutely cannot do this. You absolutely cannot do this because from a football perspective, yes, he's a better quarterback than anyone you have on your roster. But you can't look at this from just a football perspective. This is potentially a very bad human being. And you cannot, and then the proposed return that it would take to acquire Deshaun Watson, what you have to get up to get a football player of his caliber. And imagine doing that, getting him in your building, and then you realize all this stuff turns out to be true. And he's this awful person that's done all these terrible things. Then you would have to cut ties, and then you don't have him, and you don't have all the stuff you gave up for him. You look stupid and you played yourself. You cannot do this if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. But anyway, let's get started on this timeline. The people involved, the four people involved: Watson himself, obviously, Watson's attorney, whose name is Rusty Hardin, the Texans CEO, who's Cal McNair, and the son of the late owner of the Texans, Bob McNair, and the Houston-based attorney, the plaintiff attorney, Tony Busby. All right, in 2020, Deshaun Watson signs a 4-year, $156 million extension with the Houston Texans. This extended his deal, which was going to run out after the 2021 season, 4 years after that. Late January 2021, Watson requested trade. The news breaks via Adam Schefter, who's one of the best in the business, certainly the best in the NFL, right after Houston hires new head coach David Culley. Now, people thought, oh, maybe he's not very happy with the head coach decision, but he came out and he said, listen, it's more about, they would have to get rid of McNair, the Houston Texans CEO. They'd have to get rid of him for me to want to stay. So they could hire any head coach, it wouldn't matter. Watson said that the whole organization needs a culture shift. Quote, we just need new energy. We just need discipline. We need structure. We need a leader who we can follow as players. That's what we need. Listen, Deshaun, you're the quarterback, man. And you just got a $150 million extension. You got to be the leader, bro. That's got to be you. That's got to be you. That they need to look to you to lead them into this new era of the Houston Texans. All right, the head coach is great. He's not a known commodity. All right, he was assistant coach of the Houston Texans. It's not someone we know very well. He could be amazing. We haven't seen it yet, but you are established. You are the quarterback of this team. You need to be that leader. So you're saying that we need a culture shift. You need to drive that. But we'll see. And then here's where everything kicks off. March 16th, Houston attorney Tony Busby announces on Instagram. That's a little weird if you're a high-profile attorney, in my opinion. He announces on Instagram that he was filing suit against Watson for alleged misconduct against women, but he didn't offer very any concrete details. And Watson said publicly, and this remains his only public statement on the matter, he said he has yet to see a complaint, but maintained that he's never treated a woman with anything other than the utmost respect. March 17th, 2 more cases. March 18th, NFL opens an investigation. and 4 more cases, bringing the total up to 7 in 2 days. All these cases are anonymous. Busby responds to NFL legal counsel's request to assist with the investigation with his clients, and he responds that his clients and him would comply to the extent that we can due to our civil court obligations. March 22nd, 6 days since the news officially broke, 7 new cases, bringing the total of 14, all anonymous. March 23rd, Watson's attorney, Rusty Hardin, alleged that Busby was impeding efforts to investigate but not releasing the names of the accusers. Also, Watson's marketing manager said that they identified a plaintiff that had previously tried to blackmail Deshaun Watson. This plaintiff is also one of the women that accused him of sexual misconduct. The marketing manager said he spoke with the woman in January 2021, and she asked to be paid $30,000 for her silence. The Watson camp and his marketing manager denied paying her this money. March 31st, Rusty Hardin's office releases statements from 18 named massage therapists. So these women, I'm assuming that all 18 are women, released their names as part of this statement. They say that the accusations against Watson are inconsistent with their personal experiences with him. 18 of them, and they all attach their names to this. April 2nd, the Houston police officially opened an investigation into Deshaun Watson. April 5th, total cases against Watson rise to 22. 22 unnamed women accusing him of sexual misconduct from the course of March 16th to April 5th. April 6th, 2 accusers identify themselves, Ashley Solis, and Laura Baxley. Rusty Hardin released a statement claiming that Tony Busby, the plaintiff lawyer, sought $100,000 in settlements on Ashley Solis' behalf. April 8th, Hardin files motion for plaintiffs to identify themselves, and by April 15th, all 22 women had self-identified. And jumping all the way from April 15th to July 27th, Watson is in training camp and the NFL places no restrictions on him. So, all that said, all this stuff going from 22 unnamed women, and it felt a little weird because all this stuff escalated really quickly, really not that long after he requested a trade from the Texans. That had some people, obviously with any situation with a public figure, there are going to be conspiracy theorists. And I don't know how much talk I put into this, not much to be honest, but that's not the point. In 2018, when the talk of the town in the NFL was players kneeling during the national anthem to protest police brutality, the late Texans owner Bob McNair said, "You can't let the inmates run the prison," in response to players not wanting to stand for the anthem. Now, obviously, that statement comes across as being racist as hell. And then he later apologized for the statement, and then after that he said the only thing he regrets is apologizing. He said he didn't have anything to apologize for. So think about that what you will. In 2014, Tony Busby puts up billboards around Houston to urge neighbor Bob McNair to draft Johnny Manziel, who was coming out of Texas A&M at the time. People have used that and the incident of Bob McNair saying a racist comment in 2018 to say that these two, even though Bob McNair has since passed away, that Hardin is close with the McNair family, and Watson asked for a trade when a year after signing an extension, do all this stuff, basically slander his name. He won't have any trade value and he'll have to stay here. That's a conspiracy theory. Does it have much ground? No, because there's no proof, obviously, with most conspiracy theories, and it's just loosely connected dots. Very, very loosely connected. But I will say, at the time when this stuff was all very first coming out, it did feel a little sketchy, but it came to the point where these 22 women all self-identified themselves in public cases, and in a court proceeding of this high magnitude with someone of his stature. Everyone who's a legitimate NFL fan knows who Deshaun Watson is. He's a very public figure. So the fact that these women, 22 of these women, would voluntarily self-identify themselves, it puts more weight on it, saying, "Hey, this is legit." And I understand them not wanting to self-identify in the beginning. That's completely their right. When it comes to the point, Deshaun Watson's attorney came through with some legal precedent saying that they had to, otherwise the cases would have no merit, and so they did, and all respect to them. So back to the football perspective. Michael Lombardi, he used to be a GM for the Raiders. Now he's a media guy. He has a podcast. He tweeted today, August 5th, "I have no idea how a team could heat up trade talks with Houston when there's too many variables unknown. It makes no sense, especially since the supposed ask is significant," which touches on what I just said a few minutes ago. There's no way that a team, the Eagles or any team, could even think about doing this if all this stuff is still unknown, the case is unresolved, and you don't know whether this guy's a terrible person or not, and has sexually harassed or assaulted or what have you to these 22 known women, maybe more. So the Eagles, bro, what are you doing? You absolutely cannot do this. All right. And since I've put all this stuff together, I've seen some things saying, seen some people on Twitter, some verified people, NFL reporters, what have you, saying that to pump the brakes on this, it's maybe not as accurate or as it originally seemed to be. And I hope that's the case. I hope that the Eagles are not actually trying to trade for this guy, because the risk of this is just too high, and you cannot reward this. All right, giving him what he wants, putting him in a new situation. You cannot do this. And what does this say to your fan base? What does this say to your locker room that you would take this guy in? The NFL receives flack for giving these players, when they're good players, they're they sweep stuff under the rug. Tyreek Hill is still in the NFL. Greg Hardy was signed by the Cowboys after his situation. Neither of these things are good, and we can't look past them. We kind of forget about it. We forget about Tyreek Hill that he did what he did because he's such a great player on the field. But it's stunning that the NFL just sweeps this stuff under the rug. The linebacker for the Seahawks, Wheeler, it came out he wasn't a player. He wasn't a well-known player. And his domestic violence stuff came out, gone, blackballed. See ya, NFL. NFL wants nothing to do with you. We can't have this stuff in our sport. Zero tolerance. But if he was an all-star linebacker, if he was out here winning championships, that would be swept under the rug. They wouldn't even talk about it. As soon as something else broke the news cycle, it would sweep it over. We'd be talking about something else. The public would forget about it. But if Deshaun Watson, all this stuff is coming out, and he's a great player, the Eagles want to trade for him. He's in training camp, and the NFL places no restrictions on him at all. He can play, he can practice, and what have you. He gets paid everything. This is the problem with the NFL, and you don't see this in other sports. Major League Baseball, domestic violence, gone. All right, happened this year. Marcell Ozuna on the Atlanta Braves, Starlin Castro on the Washington Nationals. In the past, I remember Addison Russell or the Cubs, who was a very important part of their World Series team in 2016, came out. He did what he did. See ya. The NFL, they clearly choose and this is not surprising of a big organization. They clearly choose their bottom line over being morally sound, and it's really sad to say. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Like if you like, subscribe if you're new, and tell me what you think down in the comments. Do you think the Eagles should trade for Deshaun Watson? And do you think that ultimately he's guilty of all these allegations that are against him? Let me know what you think. And that's it guys. OG's back. Remember, be kind to someone today.